Hello, everyone. This is going to be quite the video, I must admit. Today is February 14th, Valentine's Day. And now, what am I going to do for Valentine's Day? Well, you guys may not know, but I'm going to be very cursed. And, I did announce I was in the middle of a villain arc, but that's supposed to be for entertainment purposes. I would just like to refer you guys to this. Yeah, you see this? You see this? I'm sure everyone would like to know what this is. Now, this is going to be a very long story. Honestly, 2024 is going to be a disaster. We all know this, especially if you're in America. But I do not understand the mindset of a scammer. I just don't understand. Like, let's remove morality from the equation. Let's remove if it's legal for a moment. Why do people scam others? Why do they do that? Is it entertaining? Are you just that bored? What the hell kind of country do you live in if you are? I'd just like to explain that I legitimately do not get it. I was sitting here, and for how long? And I'm going to have to be honest with all of you. I don't understand why I would fall for this. But I also do not understand why I would just I can't get inside the mindset of the person that scammed me. I cannot do that. It's just impossible to comprehend. I was sitting there for like hours, several hours, I don't know. But this guy was walking me through this weird elaborate process, and I'm just like, okay, if you're at work, you do mind-numbingly tasks, I'm sure. You do a bunch of things that don't require much thought. But exactly why would you want to take a single individual and walk them through a very expensive scam? Let's imagine that we are not considering whether or not this is even a good idea. Let's just take a moment to think about how much time was spent on scamming me rather than enjoying their life. Like, I understand we all have to make a living somehow, but I don't think preying on the vulnerable is going to help you in any way. Let's ignore morality. What are you doing with your life? Are you happy? Are you really, truly happy with the lives that you've destroyed? I just want to know. But I'm not going to actually ask you because I blocked your ass. Now, I usually know the standards around here. You block out usernames, you block out any personal information. But this time, I'm not going to block out the name of the scammer. And now let's start from the very beginning. This person sent me a message. And now this is an old friend of mine, or at least the account of an old friend. I don't know if this is still that person's account. This is what I'm trying to figure out before I consider blocking this account as well. Because if this is still the person's account in question, I don't want to block someone that is innocent, okay? The person received this email. Look in the upper hand corner here. This email says all sorts of things, but it's basically a scam email. And I'm not really sure what's going on here. Was it truly an accident that I was reported? Was I reported at all? I'm not sure, but it is possible, based on what happened to me, that this account that you're looking at here, the person's name that I blurred out, it's quite possible the account is no longer theirs and it's been compromised. Which would then mean that this person just tried to get me into the phishing scam as well. And they were successful. And now, unfortunately for the bastard in question, I have my Discord account back. I changed my passwords. I canceled my credit card. Actually, it's a debit card, but a debit card, credit card. I think everyone understands the gist of what both do at this point, honestly. Canceled my debit card, got my Discord account back, changed all of my passwords, all of them, went to my bank, discussed this, froze my credit on all 3 credit bureau websites, and I am planning to file a report with the police. It was recommended that I do this based on the personal information that I gave this person. Now you may be wondering, why the hell would you do something this stupid? Well, it's not a matter of stupidity, really. I mean, yes, it was dumb, but I was also vulnerable. And this guy preyed on my fear. And the person's account here is an old friend of mine. So, wouldn't you usually trust your friends? I mean, obviously, I am weird and I have trust issues, but don't most people trust their friends? I would just like to remind everyone that trust is a healthy part of any kind of relationship dynamic, whether it be your parent, a business partner, a coworker, your friend, your child, a romantic partner. It's normal, it's healthy. You're supposed to be able to depend on that person to be trustworthy. So, pretending to be a friend of mine, and that's just predatory. And I'm vulnerable to all sorts of things at the moment because I don't think I'm all there. I think part of me is a bit detached from whatever happened because let's be real. When I look at this balance, I'm haunted by everything. Now, I'm also trying to work with my bank to get this situation straightened out because I don't want any legal consequences from this. And now I do realize that I'm stressed out and that could mean anything. But I fell for a phishing scam. And I'm quite annoyed because I can't focus on anything but the fact I did this. I cannot focus on anything but fixing this issue. Now I'm also planning on changing my passwords again, tightening security, and making sure I don't do this stupid shit again. Now this doesn't mean that what happened is gone. Because this person that used to be my friend probably isn't my friend anymore. I don't know if this is still their account. And I'm still trying to think of how they prove it to me if it is. And now it's weird because they wanted me to respond to them based on how the conversation played out. But I'm going to be truly honest with all of you. I'm not really sure it was ever the person in question. It could have been this scammer here. The scammer whose name I haven't blurred out. Because I'm a bitch. And I don't take mercy on anyone when they've done something this serious. Do you think that someone like me can pay back all of this? Now, I do realize that my family cares about me a lot, okay? But I don't think anyone wants to pay this amount just so I can avoid the legal consequences of this. It's ridiculous. Social Security doesn't even give me this much on a monthly basis. I don't even get this much. which is insane when you think about it, but that's a different story. I am on a fixed income. Now, it has come to my attention that not everyone knows what this means. It means that I'm considered disabled. Now, I'm sure some people may wonder how I'm disabled. You don't see my disabilities. They're invisible. And the fact that they are invisible means that people can easily argue, oh, why don't you have a job? You seem pretty competent. I don't think anyone is going to make that argument right now, to be honest. Just look at this. Does this look like competence to you? It doesn't to me. Now, I was already pretty upset before I was scammed. And this is just me telling everyone that I do understand it wasn't a good decision. I'm trying to focus more on solutions than what actually happened, because I'd rather focus on fixing the problem than obsessing over the fact that I created this mess, that I fell for this. It's not about the problem, it's about what I can do to fix it. And now, admittedly, part of me is scared. Part of me is scared because of the balance that I just saw. I can't pay that back necessarily. And based on the short time frame of what I have to actually pay that back, it's terrifying. And I heard that this can be forwarded to a collector agency for debt. What do you think debt would do to someone that's considered disabled? Well, Social Security can cancel my benefits at any time they choose. And then what would I do? I'd be in an even worse situation because I've got crippling depression. And I mean crippling. You want to know how bad my depression is? I'll tell you. I think for a moment. Consider that some people need medication. Think about it. And think about what would happen if you took away someone's antidepressants and they needed those to be functional. What would happen if suddenly the system didn't believe you? What would you do if they thought you were lying? What if they requested money back and you had no way to get it? No way to earn money because you're so depressed, so miserable. You just don't want to be here anymore. I would just like to remind everyone that my depression is indeed crippling and present. And now, add to the list that Social Security does not have on file that I have an anxiety disorder. I did not report anxiety when I filed for disability. Why? A good question. I just didn't know I had it. And when I figured that out, at first I was like, wait, that can't be right. That can't be right. Except people with anxiety were telling me that it sounded like I was having a panic attack. I think people with anxiety know what a panic attack is. Also, there's family history on both sides. Both of my parents have anxiety. I think both of them also have depression, but honestly, I don't want to know what I'm like without my medication because I don't know how anxiety factors into this. Remember that I also have partial anhedonia. I don't know if I'd be able to do anything without my medication, but let's also remember that I'm usually always pissed. Would I be able to control myself if suddenly I had no medication? Because Medicaid took away my benefits because of this. Hold on a second. I need to show you guys this again because I still cannot believe that I did this. Because I cannot work and pay off this. Because I have things that I need that not everyone does. However, on that point, I will say this. Everyone needs health care. Everyone. It's not just me. Every American citizen needs health care. I'm not special in this regard, but I certainly cannot function without medication. And no one wants to know what I'm like without medication because I don't want to know that. I know what I'm like without antidepressants. I don't know what it's like when my depression is interacting with my anxiety. And also, let me remind everyone, my primal instincts are alive. My primal brain is functioning and always on the alert. I have anxiety-related paranoia. Whenever I'm paranoid, it's just anxiety. When we put all of these factors together in one, that's some terrifying shit. And now let's imagine that you take away everything I have. So, I suffer the consequences simply because I fell for one scam. Simply because I was feeling so awful, I had no idea I was supposed to be suspicious. That my guard was let down just enough to fall for a phishing scam. Imagine that my life becomes so terrible as a result. But then let's imagine the people that this would affect. Remember, I live in a household that isn't the most stable. Add me to that equation. What do you think would happen? I certainly don't know, but I do have partial anhedonia. So if you take away my medication, what stops me from losing all control? And I'm not saying that I would harm someone else, alright? I'm saying that if you take away my medication, there is a good chance that I would be destructive on some level. And I'm not throwing away, I'm not saying claims to scare anyone. Do not report me. I still have my medication, okay? Don't freak out. It's just hypothetically, I cannot pay back this amount on my own. And the consequences at their worst, it will destroy me. I think that I will recover from this because I do have some support. And I do think that my bank will work with me on this one. But I do need everyone to understand the weight this has. It is the year 2024. Why does this matter? Well, quite frankly, if you're not American, you're just watching on the sidelines. And I'd like to say that you don't care what happens here, but I don't know if I have the right to say that right now. Huh. How many countries are paying attention? I don't know. It is a leap year, and my year is and I turned 32 this year. That means that this year there is a presidential election. Because every time my age is divisible by 4, it's a presidential election year. And a leap year. Weird, I know. And now the candidates so far, well, I'm not quite sure what they are, but I'm going to assume it's going to be a Biden versus Trump rematch. You may be like, what the hell? Why? Well, because it's looking like it. I don't really know for sure, but it's starting to look that way. And I've heard claims. I don't want to cite my sources on this. I still need to know what the actual candidates are, but I do expect Trump to be running for re-election. Now you may be wondering, why are you putting this in a scammer video of all places? Because I'm just not very nice. I'm not very nice. I feel like everything is crumbling around me. I feel like everything is going downhill, going to shit. I do not have any hope for a good future. I feel like I'm screwed. Even after I've settled all of this, even after it's all resolved, what do I have left at the end of all this? What will become of this country? And also, I'm not useless. I'm not dead weight. There are things I can do, but I do not currently qualify for anything professionally. Although I'm sure some people could argue otherwise. I would just like to remind you that I once compared myself to a character that is known to be mentally unstable. Or at least they were mentally unstable for most of their screen time. So because I compared myself to that character, you may be wondering, how unstable am I? And is it true? Am I really that mentally unstable on any level? Take away my medication, and because I can't pay back a scam, and I might just be that bad. I might just be that bad. Seriously, I know suffering on a level that very few can comprehend. I'm not saying this to be edgy. I'm not saying anything to be edgy. I'm scared. All of this it just boils down to me being scared, okay? And this guy preyed on that. He preyed on my fear and the knowledge that I could lose my Discord account because of my own stupidity. But to lose my account, I had to be terrified enough to give it up. Now, because I'm willing to provide this information, and because, let's be real, he's a scammer. He doesn't deserve mercy. He doesn't deserve to be anonymous, although he is anonymous, to be honest. I mean, I'm not going to reveal his actual name. I doubt that's it. Honestly, let's be real. Whose last name is... Support. I don't know anyone whose last name is Support. That's not a last name that I've heard before. Now, I'm scared for a number of other reasons, but this scam just puts things into perspective. I don't want to live in fear. I don't want to be terrified that my future is terrible. But we're going to see how this plays out. Because there are still other measures that I must take to make sure that I don't fall for another phishing scam. And as for Valentine's Day itself, I just wanted to have fun today, okay? I just wanted to have fun, so I don't need anything taking that away from me. Wait a minute. There are many things I should do, like, I'm in the middle of a raid boss event. You're like, what? Yeah, we've come full circle. I'm in the middle of another one. A Gems of War is having another one. You may be like, okay, now why are you bringing up games in the middle of a very important video? I use games to cope with reality. I mean, this entire YouTube channel was started as a way to cope with reality. Let's be real. And now, when I upload this, I don't know how people will respond. I don't know if it will be positive or negative. I don't know how many people are going to just be like, wow, you were dumb. But I do have my concerns because some people think that Biden has a chance to win. Why? Because I doubt it. Why would you let someone in his condition run for re-election? But here's a worse thing to consider. What if a candidate was arrested, put into prison, and maybe even removed from the ballot, and enough Americans still voted for that guy? What do you think would happen? I mean, based on the government we have, the person that was arrested would have to be president at that point, right? Because most of America would want it. I doubt it. But listen, everything is just chaotic at the moment. And I made it so much worse. Dear God. This is going to haunt me for a while. But I'm going to let my bank cook and see what happens. I know they will call me at some point, so I'll ask about this if I haven't gotten a response to my email by that time. In the meantime, I want to play my card games again. Can I win?